everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Lindsay and this is Life with Lindsay. Today we have a WIP Chat for you. But if you are new here, hi, welcome. My name is Lindsay. I do mainly diamond painting and some other crafting related content from time to time. And I would love for you to like, subscribe, hit the bell, hop aboard the Hot Mess Express. Let's all be friends. If you've been here before, hi, welcome. Thanks for coming back. So if you don't know what a WIP Chat is, WIP, W-I-P, stands for Work in Progress. I am currently working on my Dia de los Muertos. This is my Enablers Outpost kit. I will put the unboxing for that up in the eye. This will be the last time you see this in a video, other than the post review, which will be coming soon, because I have just this little section right here and just what you see in front of me. So, but anyway, if you don't know what a WIP Chat is, as I sidetracked my own self, which is a skill I am very good at. It's when I work on my current WIP, as I mentioned, work in progress, and you can pull out whatever it is that you are working on and work alongside with me. It can be another craft project. It can be a household project. It can be while you're, running errands, doing chores, while you're driving, while you're working, while you're pretending to work. I need to change the wax in this, and I just started a video. That's very professional of me. But anyway, there's no right way or wrong way to WIP Chat. I know a lot of people use them like podcasts, and they listen to it while they're doing other stuff. You guys, I'm losing my mind. I don't know where my wax went. I don't know where anything is. I haven't been up in my craft room in a couple days. Not because I didn't want to be, but life. So now I am legit scrambling trying to find a wax. I had like 4 of them on my desk, which means it's probably on the floor somewhere. So let's find another one. Fun fact, totally unrelated to the wax, but I'll show you guys this. So I got a box in the mail the other day. And these are the drills, the missing drills from Oraloa. If you guys saw, I had already completed it and put the post review. If you'd like to see the post review for that, I'll link that in the eye. So I had already received the replacement drills and then received more. These ones came from China. The other ones came from France. Oddly enough, what they sent me would not have been enough to cover what I needed anyway. So, but I was like, wow, I guess the Canadian side and the French side didn't really communicate with each other. So I just found a random pat of, Diamond Art Club wax. So here we go. And if you guys hear anything in the background, my husband is here today. Say hi, husband. He sounds thrilled to be here, guys, doesn't he? Anyway, I hope that you guys are all well. I don't even know where I left off in my last WIP Chat. I know I didn't have enough time to talk about everything because there's so much going on. Last weekend, my kiddo skated in the spring showcase, which was absolutely fantastic. She did such a good job. She skated in a solo performance as well as a group number. She loved doing both. This child is actually signed up for her very first official competition this summer, which is very exciting. And she will be doing the same program that she did for her spring showcase. She's had the same program for a really long time. We actually changed the skills for a little bit because her coach could tell she was getting bored. But for competition purposes, she can't perform skills at a skill set higher than what she's competing in, or she can actually lose points. So she flipped the whole program. So it started at the other end of the rink and worked its way backwards, or the other way, I guess. I don't know how you want to describe that. But she's very, very excited. So we did that. Her grandparents came in. My parents came in to see her skate. My mother-in-law came to see her skate. And we just had a really great time. Then we all went to dinner afterwards. This is Mother's Day weekend. And so, unfortunately, last year, we didn't really get to... Ooh. A bunch of stuff just fell on my desk. That's not going to be good. Don't mind me as I scramble to clear off part of my desk while I'm talking to you guys. I have a package here that I want to unbox, but not in this video, but I keep forgetting to actually film that, so it's sitting here, and then I have other things on top of it. It's everything is a mess right now. Anyway, so last year we went out of town for Mother's Day weekend. His mother was with us, but we went to see his niece graduate college, and the next morning we went That's my kiddo if you guys hear her. The next morning we went to like a brunch spot, and the fact that there were mothers there other than the elderly women was not acknowledged at all. So not because of my husband or anything else like that. We didn't actually get to like celebrate Mother's Day last year. We did, just not celebrate me. So this year for Mother's Day, he makes really good eggplant parm. And that was like one of the big things he made for me. That was the big meal he made for me when we started dating. And he doesn't make it very often because it involves a lot of steps and frying, and it's really like a special occasion meal. So he made that for me, and that was really nice. My kiddo picked out a card, and you know, we had a lovely time at home. And my husband let me know that he actually had made reservations at a nice restaurant later in the week. So I felt very loved and appreciated by the end of all of this. Because we knew with our families both being in town for my kids' skating thing, that again, we would not really be, I don't want to sound so selfish, but like we wouldn't be acknowledging me as a mother again. And it's very, very frustrating. If you are somebody out there who has grown children that are parents, okay, can we please stop being like, we need to put all the emphasis on the matriarch of the family? Not that they aren't mothers anymore, but they had their time in those difficult, the time in the trenches. The moms of small children, the moms of kids who still actively need their parents to survive, those are the ones who should be celebrated on Mother's Day. And I'm not saying like celebrate me and not my mother, but also like acknowledge me. We went out to eat, and unfortunately, not a single Happy Mother's Day was said to me by the family, which was very disheartening. I kind of expected it going in. So my husband made a big deal about taking care of me the next day by treating me to a meal that he knew I would enjoy and making sure that...
And I made breakfast.
Okay. And that it didn't go unnoticed, and I appreciate it. Now I'm all thrown off. I appreciated it because there's nothing worse than being with your entire family. And like your mom and dad don't even recognize that you're a mother also. And it's not the first time it's happened, and it won't be the last time it's happened. Like, I don't need a big fanfare, but like when the waitress says Happy Mother's Day to me and my own mother doesn't, it's very disheartening. And I'm just coming to realize Mother's Day isn't really going to be something special for me as long as we're celebrating with anybody else, because I just go unnoticed. And it's a super shitty feeling because it's been like this forever. And, yeah. So, it sucks. And I know there are other people who get absolutely no recognition at all. And that sucks too. And I know that Mother's Day can be a hard day for a lot of people. And I don't want to turn this around and make it all about me, but it sucks when you're the mother in the room, but because the grandmother is in the room, your motherhood journey doesn't matter anymore. And it hurts. And, I'm sad about it, clearly. So, anyway, the next day my kiddo went to school. We're now in this new phase of life with youth sports. We've been doing youth sports for a while, and there's a meme out there that's you have choice for 4:30 or 9 o'clock dinner, and there's nothing in between. And it's so true. So my kiddo on these days, she skates at 5:40 to 6:40, and it's 35 plus minutes away from the house. So by the time we get home, it's already way past bedtime. It's late. She's tired. I'm tired. She's hungry. So we started giving her dinner beforehand, and she's been much more thrilled about that. She loves that she's having dinner at 4:30 like a 94-year-old. However, my husband and I are not super keen on the early bird special. And for me, I don't want to prepare like a big meal that my kid's not going to be eating. Like, I don't want to make a big slow cooker meal for my husband and I if she's going to be eating a ham and cheese sandwich before she goes skating, which is pretty much what happens. And so we haven't really figured out the right balance yet. So if you guys have any suggestions, I am open to them. But we actually ended up, there's a fast casual Indian restaurant near us that only recently opened, and we've been there so many times. And we actually asked her, like, are you okay if, like, mommy and daddy just grab dinner there after you're done skating? And she was like, yeah. So, unfortunately, it doesn't translate well if you, like, take it to go. So we just opted to go and sit, and that was great. But it still gets us home pretty late, and it's not a permanent solution. So we're still trying to figure out what it is that what the best way to do it is. So if you have any tips or tricks, let me know. And some of those days, like, my husband and I aren't even together. So, like, we would even be eating at different times. And, like, we're both grown-ups, so we can both fend for ourselves. But it would be nice to just be able to plan something and make it easier. And that's not the only day of the week that we deal with that now. Because on Thursdays, she also has skating, but it's an hour and a half. It's an hour on the ice, half hour off the ice. And while that's great, it does the same thing. It's either the 4 o'clock dinner or the, hey, we're going to have dinner an hour after it's my kid's bedtime. So, you know, anything, we're open to it. Anywho, so, this is upside down. I have so little left to do, and I hope I can get it done today so that I can kit up my next kit, which I'm very excited about. And by the way, I am not ever somebody who's like, let me tell you about all of my accessories, but this here, in case anyone has seen me using it and wondering what it is, this is a tray from Firefly, and they have the, I don't know if I did a video on this or not, but they have the, what color am I on? The inserts that pop out. So you have the straight lines that give you, like, for your multi-placer, mixed sizes, and this one's like a single placing tray. But I got sets in dark and light so that if I have light colored drills, that I can see them on anything. And they just pop out from right underneath. And I've been loving this for, like, I have a lot of checkerboarding confetti in here. It's been very, very helpful. Anyway, so the next day was nothing exciting, just school. And then we went to, Hershey has a thing called the Fresh Market. And it is so it's not really a farmer's market. They try to explain, like, call the downstairs like a farmer's market. It's more close. Ugh. Downstairs is closer to being a farmer's market. The upstairs is really like a food court. But I'm really sad. I just found out that the actual farmer's market that they host, which is pretty much across the street, has been postponed for the entire year. Yep, saw that on Facebook, and you and I can talk about that more when I'm not recording. But he's like, you want to go there for lunch? I'm like, okay, because it's like a food court, but it's not like a mall food court. So I ended up getting cheesesteaks. She ended up getting an acai bowl. It was funny. The other day, we told her that she was real bougie, and she's like, no, I'm not. And we're like, yes, you are. Meanwhile, she walks around, and she's like, this is what I want for lunch. She wants an acai bowl. I'm like, of course you do. If you guys don't know what that is, acai is a berry, and it's a frozen pureed berry on the base. So it's almost like a sorbet-ish. And then it's topped typically with lots of fresh fruit, sometimes granola, peanut butter, things like that. It's very, very good. We've had it quite a few times. But just, she had free reign of the whole place, and that's what she chose. Brian got some Italian food. Brian got some arancini. You guys, no lie, they made softballs look like ping pong balls. They were humongous. And they were good. They just weren't hot, which was weird to me. But, and I mean like temperature, not spicy. But anyway, so we did that. We actually saw a kid from my daughter's school there. And she got real weird. She's like, oh yeah, she goes to school with me. And I was like, oh, and she's like, I don't know if this is a friend or not. She's not in her class. She's in the same grade. So they all play out on the playground together. But I was like, do you want to say hi to her? And she's like, no, if she's still there, we can say hi. Of course, by the time we came back around, she was gone. But they all got new nicknames at school that day, and Briar picked Cutie Cat. And she doesn't seem to understand, like, you don't give yourself a nickname. Like, someone else gives you a nickname, which she doesn't really like that. But her and her little bestie both have the same nickname, so I'm like, which came first, you or her? But you ask her that, and it's like, that's ridiculous, mommy. We both have the same name. It's like, well, okay. Yes, I got that. Which one of you had that name first? Did you give it to her? Did she give it to you? Or did you copy her? Did she copy you? Like, it's like interrogation of the 6-year-olds. But, yeah. So we don't typically have a positive experience when we're there. I think something about, like, the hustle and bustle is just overwhelming to my kiddo. But she did great. And then we went downstairs. And this is going to only mean anything if you're local to me. But I'm not even going to go into, like, the whole history. But there was an Italian restaurant very, very close to my house that made a very big name for themselves over COVID because they had a vet on staff who would prescribe the horse medication that a lot of people would take instead of the vaccine. And the dude just, he's not a good person. And he would go on social media on these like TikTok lives and just rant about how stupid the people were that live here. And I'm like, well, that's a really good way to alienate your customer base. But anyway, the guy who sells them the sauce was, I'm so busy and I have so much business that I'm going to just sell my business for $1. Well, he has a stand in this lower level of the fresh market. And that is the actual reason why we've never been there, is because of that guy and his business practices and just the way he speaks about our area and things like that. And we walked by and, wouldn't you guys know, not a single person at his booth, not a single one. But he's so busy that he had to sell his storefront. I'm like, wow, good for you, sir. Good for you. Anyway, so we ended up having a really enjoyable meal. Long story short, lots of rants later. And we picked up some cookies. It's just, if you're ever in the area, like if you ever go to Hershey Park, it's a good place. It's not open every single day of the week. So, that's also something to keep in mind. But anyway, the next day we took the kiddo to school. And then that was the day that my husband took me to a nice dinner. Now, going out for a nice dinner with my husband means going out for a nice dinner with my husband and my child. So she was so excited. She got to put on a fancy dress and some sparkly shoes. And she wore like a sequin jacket, which was actually part of her costume for her ice skating. Her group number. It just, what else am I going to do with it now? She has no need for a sequin shrug for any other performances. So now it's just going into her wardrobe. But she was fantastic, you guys. They took such good care of us. And she just really, really enjoyed the whole meal. Which, if you've ever taken a small child with no attention span to a fine dining establishment, they are not quick. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's one of those things that you're there not only for the food, but for the experience. So we were there for like 2+ hours by the time we left. And she did fantastic, which I was blown away by, especially because it was an important meal. It was, for my Mother's Day treat, in addition to the home cooked meals that my husband had made. And it was just really lovely. There's nothing more that I enjoy than doing things outside of the house with my child when she's really in a wonderful mood and listening and behaving and like not on the floor. And she brought stuff with her to keep her occupied. She had a couple struggles because, again, no matter what, she is 6 and it's hard for a 6-year-old to sit still for 2 hours. And I don't need her to sit still. I just need her not like on the floor and not getting in the way. She likes to get out and like dance in the aisles, which is like a nightmare for us because we're always like, girl, like you don't know when a server's going to walk around the corner with a tray of food or drinks and you're just like bopping around and they don't see you until they drop all the food. Like, don't do that. But she did great and we had a wonderful meal. And then, yeah, that was a really great night. I think we all like thoroughly enjoyed it. And it was nice. I got to put on a pretty dress and I've decided like I've gotten to the point in my life now where I am dressing for comfort 100% of the time. And I wore a really nice, like it wasn't a super fancy dress, but it was a nice dress. And I was like, well, it has some gold shimmer in it. So I'm going to just wear my Crocs. And I was that child that like grown up dressed like a child because I had my Crocs on with my fancy dress. I didn't care. I didn't care at all because guess what? I was comfortable and I still looked nice. And my dress was still pretty and it didn't really take anything away from it. Now, obviously, if I was going to like something that was, black tie, I couldn't get away with wearing my Crocs. But yeah, that was great. And my husband and I don't get to go there very often because, well, it is nice and, you only have so many times to be able to take a small kiddo to a nice restaurant before, it's not worth it. Financially, emotionally, mentally, whatever you want to say. But she was great, and I was very, very pleased. And she was excited about, like, the Mother's Day card that she got me. She keeps talking to me about another Mother's Day card that she didn't get. And she keeps wanting to take me to the store to see the card that she didn't get. And I'm like, I love you, kiddo, but I don't really need to see the card that you didn't buy. It has a vacuum on it. I don't know. Something with a dog and a vacuum. And I'm just like, okay. My guess, it probably wasn't even a Mother's Day card. She probably just saw it at the store and it just stuck in her head. But
when I took her, she kept grabbing graduation cards. And I'm like, the girl, no.
Mommy's not graduating. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's sweet that she really wanted to send me to show me another card, but it was unnecessary. So but also side note, my daughter somehow, I think I've talked about this before. She came home from school one day talking about cocktails, and my husband and I were like, I'm sorry, what? And she's like, cocktails, and I was like, I know, but how do you know? For backstory, my husband and I are not big drinkers at all, and I don't know where she learned about alcohol from because it wasn't us. And it's not that we've hidden it from her. We just we are not those people that are, let me grab a beer with my dinner. Let me sit outside and drink a wine cooler while my kid's playing in the yard. And if you are that kind of parent, you do you. And it just isn't how we are. So when she started talking about cocktails, we're like, what? So I said, well, you know what? We're in a fancy place. I was like, I bet you they could do a nice mocktail for you. And what? I'm like, okay. And so we got a blackberry mojito, a virgin mojito, obviously. And I wasn't sure if she would like it or not because it's a bit of some assertive flavor. She loved it. And I was like, just so you know, kiddo, this isn't going to be available at every restaurant we go to. And everywhere we go, they always want to offer a Shirley Temple, which I don't consider a Shirley Temple a mocktail. I guess it's specialty drink. I don't know. But there's no alcoholic version of a Shirley Temple. So it's weird to me that that's on a mocktail list. Anyway, super long story short, if you guys have any mocktail ideas, let me know. I would love to have some for the summer. I think she would really enjoy a little mocktail in the backyard kind of day. But yeah, so where am I at? Oh, and she also got, flowers the day we went to the fresh market. which I'm now looking at this going, did I mix my days up? I might have. When we went downstairs to the farmer's market section of it, there was an Amish flower stand, and she walked around. There's like a big candy thing, and I was like, I know it's really hard when you're looking at like literally a wall full of stuff that you can't have. And the way to this child's heart is flowers. She loves flowers. So when she had her skating performance, she was like big mad because she thought nobody was going to give her. She made a comment about her presents, and I was like, listen, you can't ever go into something in life and go, where are my presents? That's just rude. You don't have to believe me, but it is. And she, of course, didn't like that. And so my husband had picked up some flowers for her. And so she actually picked a couple flowers from the Amish stand, and then we put them in the same vase with the one she got that day. She was very, very excited. Is this color already? Yep. I'm looking for a color that's already out on my desk. I don't have many left. Is there an N? N. There we go. Sorry. Usually I film on Monday while my kiddo is at school. I opted to nap today instead. And maybe I have too much in here. I hope not. Look at that, you guys. Empty. Completely empty. Love it, love it. But I'm like, I feel so like out of whack. Anyway, but yeah, Thursday we also had our Aspire class, which is that second group lesson we do in a week now. The thing that's nice with Aspire is that it is higher level skaters, but they lowered the requirements for this current session. So interestingly enough, there are a ton of kids in her group now that are similar in age to her, which is really wonderful. And I was talking to, there was a mom there that I had actually met at somebody else's birthday party last year. And I went up to her and I was like, I don't know if you remember me. And we were chatting, and I didn't realize her daughter was older than mine, but they were testing out the Aspire at our rink, and they were going to go test it out at the other rink, and they were doing it to figure out like which way they want to go. And the thing that's interesting is that I believe most of the people who are on the Aspire track, like Aspire classes, have a plan of going to the route of competition. And part of it is you need to dedicate yourself to a home club, and you have to be a member of said club in order to take these classes. But we're so close to like this session of the skate club season that I think everybody's kind of making exceptions right now. So it was nice they had an opportunity to test it out, and I was like, you know, it's nice because these are the same girls. They'll train together for, you know, years to come. The biggest downside is then they become friends with the kids they compete against. So, and I did mention my daughter is all registered for her very first competition. I found out it's the same weekend as a pretty big concert here, so it's going to be a bit of a nightmare, but I'll survive. What letter is that? My daughter is singing, if you guys can hear her. And usually, like I said, I record while she's at school. I don't record everything while she's at school, but I do typically record my WIP chats because it's easier. And I'm finding her to be very distracting. But I can't turn the monitor off because that's me being a parent, keeping an earball on my kid. Earball? Keeping an ear. Lindsay, words are hard. I hope that you guys are still here. I hope I haven't scared you all away. I mean, if you've been here for any length of time, you know I ramble. What the heck was that now? Well, something just fell off my desk the other way. I don't understand how my desk is this much of a disaster zone, but it is. And yeah, so I only have a couple more here in the face, and then I will scooch over and finish the rest of, there's hair and some candles. I'm excited to share all of my final thoughts with you guys. I think overall the image is going to look really cool. I know you guys are looking at, if you're looking at it, you're looking at it upside down with a light pad on and, you know, anywho, where were we? Okay, so my husband had a package that was attempted to be delivered. So I was home and I heard a knock and I said to my kiddo, did you just knock on the door? Because my daughter is directly below me. And I have the monitor and everything, but I thought, you know, she plays in her room. Sometimes she like knocks around. I thought maybe she had knocked on the door. She's like, no. I'm like, oh, okay. So I didn't think much of it. And then I went outside to see if, you know, maybe somebody had knocked because there was a delivery. My husband had a package from UPS that he had no idea the seller marked it as signature required. And it wasn't anything that would really require signature, you guys. Like, it wasn't anything fancy or special. I mean, it was Pops. So it's not that it wasn't special, but you know what I mean? And so I got the little tag that said that the package was going to the UPS store, which is not far from us. So I call the UPS store and I'm like, you know, when can I come pick this up? And they were like, oh, did you get it? When did you get it? I said, today. And they said, okay, anytime tomorrow after 12 noon. I'm like, okay. So my husband is then tracking it and he's like, well, now it says it's back out for delivery. I'm like, listen, this is just what the UPS store told me. I'm going by the information that's on the tag that's on our door and also what the UPS store told me. So it turns out it indeed did get delivered to the UPS store, but the tracking notification took forever to update. So by the time it updated, it was like hours later. So we ended up having to go to the UPS store like a whole day later to pick it up. And I say a whole day as if like that's a really long time, and it's not. It was more of an inconvenience than like oh my god, I needed this package right away. But we had to go in, and I was like, you know, I don't know if they're gonna need ID, and like if we're going right from dropping our kiddo off from school, like I got to make sure I have a bra on because like I'm not walking into the UPS store with like no clothing on. I mean, obviously I wasn't naked, but you know what I mean. Hopefully you know what I mean. I am feeling like today is one of those days where I feel like no matter what it is that I'm saying, that nothing's coming out the right way. Do you ever have days like that? Please tell me I'm not alone. I don't know. I also feel like I'm rushing through this week for some reason, and I don't know why. Okay, I gotta remember what I'm pulling out, because I waited to do this section that, like, all the colors are the same. So I also had my husband turn the big fan on when we came in, and I was like, I wonder if that's going to be too loud in recording. And I did a little test run, and indeed it was very, very loud. And now I am sweating my balls off over here. I always have my little fan. Girl, go sleep. She was very, very tired, so we're like, it would be a good idea for you to take a nap. But this is clearly not napping, as she is yelling and singing and doing all the things other than sleeping or trying to sleep. Anyway, where am I at? I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. So I had to go pick up the UPS stuff, and it was there, and my husband was like in and out in like 5 minutes. So I was like, well, I guess it wasn't that big of a deal. Did they ask you for ID at all?
Yeah.
Oh, they did. Okay. And that was the other thing. It didn't say who the package was from. And I know sometimes, like, mail stuff can be weird because if it says my name on it, it has to match my ID. But if it says his name, it has to match his. But we didn't know whose package it was. Now, we figured it out. It was his package. But it wasn't something that was figured out, like, immediately. And, yeah. Super long story short, it was a pain in the butt. We got it. The UPS store is not far away, so that was helpful. And then Hershey Park is open on the weekends right now, if you're watching this like in real time. And so my husband's got these strange hours on the weekends now because they're open like way, way later. And to put it into perspective, the other day my husband walked 13 miles at work. That's how busy it was. He works on the retail side over there, and it was just one of those situations where he was just like, dude, I can't get over how busy it was. And I was like, wow, all right. And then you start adding in, like, they started having the concert series, excuse me, happening soon. So you'll have like the stadium concerts starting. I want to say they start this month. Maybe they already started. And then they go until like Labor Day. I think Pink is the last one. Maybe she's October, which I remember looking at the schedule and being like, wow, that's really late this year that they are closing the stadium. But Hershey Park, the stadium, the arena, and the Giant Center, which is like the indoor concert venue, as well as where the minor league hockey team plays, they all have like the same entrance to get in. So parking and driving through the parking lots can absolutely be a nightmare. So that's how you can tell, like, when you're like, oh, good, there's 52 buses pulling in. You're like, oh, it's going to be a busy day today. But, yeah, I don't envy that because I don't like walking. You know, maybe you don't. Maybe you enjoy walking. I don't. But my husband is always on his feet, and I'm always impressed when he walks as much as he does because he's not in a very large space. I mean, it's a big enough space. But it seems impossible when you're like, okay, well, then you must not have stopped moving for the last 6 hours. And it's like, well, yeah, I haven't. Like, oh, okay. How are we on time? Okay. So that same day, after we picked up the UPS stuff, my daughter figured out how to put her hair in her own pigtails. You guys, they are sloppy AF, but they are the cutest things I've ever seen. And she really wanted to wear them to the rink. And I knew if I had told her, no, you can't wear your hair like this, that she would not have taken to that well. So I kind of sacrificed it to the world there. And then her coach said to me afterwards, so I had to let her know she can't wear her hair like that again. And I was like, okay. I figured it was going to be a problem. But if I tell my daughter, you can't do that at the rink, it means nothing compared to if her coach tells her you can't do that at the rink. So, like, my daughter doesn't like to wear her hair pulled back in a ponytail. Although now she, like, because she can do it herself. She can do, like, a low pony. So she'll do that. But in general, she doesn't like to wear her hair in a ponytail. Well, her coach told her, you have to have your hair pulled back to skate. And she's like, oh. And so she has. I'm going to be right back. And I'm back. So thanks to movie magic, I walked away and came back because I was able to pause the video. But unfortunately, now I don't remember what I was talking about. Oh, did I leave my... Yep, I left that running the whole time I was gone. That's cool. That's cool. We're just going to keep on. So anyway, I don't remember where I was at, which probably wouldn't make that much of a difference even if I was, like, here paying attention because I never have a clue what's going on. For some reason, it feels very, very hot in my house. And my little fan here only gives off so much air. But anyway, so she did her piggies. So after her lesson, we went to Target. She got a brand new duck. If you guys know anything about my kiddo, she's obsessed with ducks. She has named him George. He is now her new best friend. He should be paying rent. He's coming with us. He's going out to eat with us. He's in the car with us. He's just doing all the things. So, what does that say? Sorry. The screen is cracked on the phone I record with, so if I ever do that, it's because I can't see what it says, and I can't actually rely on my actual timer because I left it running while I had to run downstairs. So, la 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 la. Oh, and we went out to dinner together. It was quite lovely. But anyway, the next day. So this past weekend was a lot of fun. It was something I was a little leery of, but I was like, let's just do it. So I asked her when I picked her up on Friday from school, I said, how do you feel about going to a concert tomorrow? Oh my God, yes, I want to go. I want to go. I can't wait. I want to go. It'll be my first concert. I've never been to a concert. I was like, okay, do you want to know who it is? And she's like, I don't even care. So we went and saw, there's a series called the Rock and Roll Playhouse, and they do all of these kid-friendly concerts. They're an hour long. And they're in actual, like, venues, at least the one we went to that does live music. And, you know, like, they had an actual bar, and it was all general admission. So there was no, like, seating or anything like that. And we went, and I had a very difficult time. This venue used to be a bar, club, live music venue when I was younger that I pretty sure I spent my 21st birthday at. I worked plenty of promotions when I worked at the radio station there. And it changed names and it became like strictly just a live music venue. And I was like, well, when did it change to this? And I looked it up. I'm like, 11 years ago? I'm like, I feel so old right now. But I took her and it was a Beatles concert. So it was this young group. If I had to guess, they were all in their 20s. And it was just all Beatles covers. Now, I'm not a huge Beatles fan. I have no problem with the Beatles. I'm not a huge Beatles fan. My daughter, on the other hand, she loves a lot of Beatles music because her favorite musician, follow me with this, you guys. Her favorite musician is somebody named Casper Babypants. Casper Babypants is the stage name of Chris Ballou, who used to be the lead singer of the Presidents of the United States of America back in like the 90s. As Casper Babypants, he has, I believe, 4 cover albums of Beatles songs. So like the one day she was singing whatever song, and I was like, how do you know the song? And she's looking at me, how do you know the song? I'm like, well, this is a song by the Beatles. She's, no, it's not. Casper Babypants sings this. And then I had to explain to her that that was indeed a cover. And she was like, what? So she knows all of these songs because of him. And so I asked her if she wanted to go, and she said yes. So I called my mother and father, who live nearby, to where the venue itself is. And I said, would you guys like to join us? You know, I don't want to drive all the way down, be 5 minutes from their house, and never have mentioned to them that we were in town. As much as things haven't been great between my family and myself, it's not about me, which is the one thing that as a parent who has a strained relationship with their parents, you have to decide like when to let it affect your kids or not. And so I asked my daughter, I said, do you want me to see if Mimi and Zeta want to come? She said, yeah. So I did, and my mom let me know she didn't think my dad would want to come, but she would love to come. My mom saw the Beatles in 1966 as a teenager, and we went. Sorry, I am taking off the last bit of plastic, which now I feel like I'm totally out of frame, but is anyone really watching? Well, if you are, here you go. There we go. So we went to this concert. It was a lot of fun. I want to say it was called John Smith and Voyages was the name of the group. Guy was really good. They rotated instruments. It was a really fun time. My daughter noticed that there were some seats over at the bar, and she got a little like, and so we went, and she said, can we sit over here? And I said, sure. So we went and we sat at the bar, and it was so cute because they had like juice boxes for the kids. And this is such a great idea because they had this is an opportunity if you are somebody who you want to spend the time with your family, you bring your kids to sing and dance to some live music. Of course, most of these kids have no idea any of the music. There was one little girl up front with a Beatles t-shirt who like clearly was very like, I didn't want anyone to take my spot. Her dad's like, I don't think anyone's gonna, steal your spot. You're okay. There were some people there that were there without children because they just wanted to see, a Beatles cover band. And then they had, it was just a really great opportunity to have like a family fun event. So I was there with my mom and my daughter, and it was really nice to have, multiple generations. My mom was really excited to spend time with her granddaughter. And so we just had this really fantastic time. My kiddo was super into it. She was very, very upset at the end because she thought that she was going to be able to go on stage because it was a kids concert, not realizing that it didn't mean like kids were performing. And also like, I'm going to have to break it to her. Like if she ever wants to do like a Kids Bop concert, that also, even though it's kids performing, doesn't mean that it's open to all children. Like, these are professional performers, which, she was very upset about. And then she was very, very upset that they didn't play Blackbird. And I was like, I'm sorry, kiddo. And then, why didn't they play Blackbird? I don't know, kiddo. They only have an hour. They can only play so many songs in the time. And, she doesn't understand. The Beatles have a very large catalog of very recognizable songs. And, but it was a really great time. We had a really wonderful time. And so I said to her, what do you want to do now? And she said, well, can we just go back to Mimi and Zeta's house and hang out for a little bit? And I said, sure, if that's what you want to do. I knew my mom was fine with that. And so we actually had Ubered to the concert. I've talked about this before. I have a travel vest that I use, and it's perfect for like things like rideshare. My daughter is not heavy enough to be in a booster, and I am not lugging a giant car seat around. And this just made it easier. So we did that. So we called for an Uber, and it kept telling me that the Uber was there. And I emailed the Uber and I said, I did the messaging through the app. I said, it shows that you are here. Are you in the parking lot or are you on the road? Shows the message was read, no response. And I gave again a detailed description of where we were. We were in front of a bus depot in front of the restaurant. And again, reads the message, doesn't respond. And then, hello, are you there? Are you going to answer us? Reads the message, doesn't respond. So at this point, I'm like, okay, cool. So I go to click cancel fare, and Uber's like, hey, do you accept this $6 fee for their inconvenience? And I'm like, absolutely not. So I was like, let's try this again. I was like, let me see if I can just get a hold of this guy. So it's like 10 minutes that it's shown that this guy is there, and I'm looking everywhere. It says it's a white Honda Accord. Obviously, I have the license plate number, and I am just looking everywhere. I don't see it. My mom and I see a car that looks similar in the parking lot. We look, doesn't have the right license plate. So I use the function to call through the app, and he ignores the call. Like, it picks up and then hangs up. So then I'm like, you know what, screw this. I'm just gonna cancel it. And right as I'm doing that, a guy makes a big U-turn in a Mitsubishi SUV. And he calls out the name on my mother's Uber account. And I just looked at it and I said, who are you? And he just kept saying my dad's name over and over again. And I said, who are you? He didn't want to tell me his name, which of course was the first red flag. Finally, he says his name. And I was like, this is not the same car that you have listed in the app. And he goes, oh, that's my car. I'm driving this one. I was like, absolutely not. And he's just looking at me, and I was like, sir, I've been trying to get a hold of you for 10 minutes. I was like, I'm not getting in a car that's different than what was listed as in the app. The whole time, this man was directly across the street from us on the opposite side of the road. Not once did he answer me. Not once did he acknowledge. Not once did he mention, I'm actually in a Mitsubishi instead. Nothing. So I canceled it, took the $6 fee, and then I contacted Uber, and I let them know the situation, because, like, $6 isn't, like, the end of the world. But that's not the point. The point is that, like, for safety reasons, I wasn't going to get into the car of somebody who's listed differently than what's in the app, especially after ignoring my phone calls and all of these other things. So hopefully my parents will get the credit back for that. But then I was like, all right, let's wait a few minutes. And we did. And then I called for another Uber. Wouldn't you believe the same exact person came right up? Now, this guy had driven past us like 3 times while we were waiting outside. So obviously he was driving around waiting for fares and looking for fares, but it sucked because I was like, I'm not getting in this guy's Uber. And because I canceled it quickly enough, like, we didn't get hit with the fee. So I said to my mom, hey, how do you feel about an electric car? She said, I'm fine with that. I said, well, at least this way we can guarantee that it's not the same person that was listed for the other one. She's like, okay, yeah, that's fine. So we do. And a Tesla comes to pick us up. My daughter thinks, like, Teslas are the coolest cars. Now, listen, I'm not out here buying a Tesla. But the inside of it was super cool. I was quite impressed. The man who drove our Uber was super friendly. and he got a kick out of my daughter, and he kept telling her, like, make sure you thank your mom. And it was such a weird experience, because I was like, I don't have Lyft on my phone because, like, nobody drives Lyft where we live. My mom had it on her phone, but I was like, I don't know how to make sure that dude didn't drive for both Uber and Lyft, and I didn't want to go through the whole situation again. And now my mom's sitting here going, well, he didn't even have a sign in his window that said Uber. And I'm like, not everybody does. Like, you guys are in a much bigger city than I am, but not everybody has an Uber sign in their window. And I said to my parents, I was like, you guys should go through, like, the safety steps. And every time I travel with Uber, not every time, but most of the time, I try to put a current photo up. Like, when I had pink hair, I took a different photo so that they knew they were looking for the person with pink hair. And it just, like, my mom has, like, the default logo, and it has my dad's name. It doesn't even have her name. And my parents are older, and, I just don't want my mom to unknowingly, like, get herself in a bad situation. So, I didn't. And I took care of it. And it just ended up being, like, as much chaos as it was. It was actually a really wonderful time. And we were just standing in the rain, so that sucked. But my mom and my daughter had a really great time. We ended up getting back to my parents' house. And my parents are moving, so they're going through a lot of stuff. My daughter discovered a music box that my dad had that was his mother's, who my daughter is actually named after. And he gifted that to her. So she's walking around with this stuffed duck and this music box that's like 100 years old. And she was just, like, in heaven. She felt like the whole day everything was about her. And it's nice. It's nice for my parents to be able to spend time with their granddaughter. It was a very, very long day. We ended up going out to dinner at like 4 o'clock. We waited because my mom had a furniture order from Amazon that required not a signature, but my parents had to show some sort of, like, passcode that was provided from Amazon. I don't know. I've never seen this before. But it was one of those things where it was like, well, it's saying it's supposed to be here between this time and this time. And I'm like, well, if it's showing that it's out for delivery and you're only a couple stops away, Dad, like, we can wait. We don't have to rush for our 4:30 reservation or whatever it was. And then we went to a restaurant that I've been going to for forever. It's funny, like, my parents, where they live now is not where I grew up, but it's not that far. But I think that when I talk to them, like, when I'm there, that they forget, like, I don't live there anymore. And I haven't lived down in that area for over a decade now. So when they go, where do you want to eat? I don't know. I don't even know what's near you. I don't even know if the restaurants that I used to go to still exist. And I know that part of that is that they don't want to be the ones to make the decision, but then I have to literally research what's nearby, what kind of food it is, look at every single menu. And so every time we go through this, and I have to say to my parents, just give me like 3 suggestions, 3 places you want to go. I'll look at them and I'll figure it out, because my parents are older. They're not looking to see if a restaurant has a kids menu, and they don't mind if there's not a kids menu. Like, they don't mind, oh, we'll just get her something off the big menu. And I'm like, right. But a restaurant that doesn't have a kids menu also isn't going to be a great environment for a child. Usually when they have a kids menu, there's an activity sheet or a coloring sheet or something. And I know it's not the restaurant's job to keep my kid entertained, but, like, I'm not coming all the way to where my parents live with 5,000 toys. Like, it's hard. So anyway, we settled there, went and got some cookies next door that I have been having since I was a little kid. They ship across the country. And I remember when I was at summer camp, my parents used to send me, like, we were allowed to have outside food like one day, and they would send me these tins of cookies from the shop. And I have so many fond memories of it. But it was really wonderful. My kid was absolutely incredible. She had the absolute best time. She was on, like, top-notch level behavior. And I just am realizing that, like, I can't hang the way I used to. I had to pull over so many times on the drive home because I was like, I feel like I'm drifting here. like I'm struggling to stay awake, and it wasn't even that late, you guys. It wasn't even that late. But I was like, my sister will be coming in at some point over the summer, and I'm like really concerned about being able to make the drive there and back in the day to see them. But that also means like I don't really want to have to get a hotel room. So now I get to figure that oh my god, I almost just dropped that, you guys. To figure that all out. So I'm going to just let my timer pause for a few minutes here because I can see how much time I have here. And I didn't start diamond painting before I started recording. But it was really wonderful. And I saw that they have another one coming up. It's the Bob Marley series. I don't know if my daughter knows any Bob Marley music. I think she might know Three Little Birds. But at the end of the day, it's all about the experience. And so I might see if that's something that my parents would like to join us for again. And to spend that time with their granddaughter and go to the concert. But it was just really cute being at this like kids concert, and you know, you had babies in baby carriers, and then you had, you know, young parents drinking their can of fancy IPA beer or whatever it was, and just little kids sitting at the bar with their French fries and their juice boxes, and it was just really well done, and I was super, super impressed by it. And I could definitely see myself taking her to do that again. But have you guys ever taken your kid, like your small kids, to a concert? My first concert, I was a teenager. My parents oddly enough, my parents love to see live music. Like I was talking to my mom, Stevie Nicks is coming to Hershey. And she was like, "Oh, I'd love to see Stevie Nicks." She's seen Fleetwood Mac. She's never seen just Stevie Nicks. But like my parents have been to see the Rolling Stones, and they've been to. My dad took me to see Elton John like in my 30s. My parents still go to concerts. I don't know when the last one was, but they've never taken me to a concert other than the one my dad took me to as an adult. My very first concert, I was 16. It was Everclear. It was the Levi's Snowcore tour of 96, 97, 98, something like that. I was in high school. And it was Everclear, Soul Coughing, and the Black Eyed Peas before Fergie was a part of it. My best friend and neighbor growing up, his father was the one who took us, and we went and we had a great time. At least I did. But my daughter really loves the performing arts. She loves theater shows. She loves Disney on Ice. She loved when we took her to Cirque du Soleil. So I'm not surprised she enjoyed the concert. I'm also not surprised that she wanted to view it a little bit from the distance and taken aback. But I think this is a good place for me to stop. I have some fun things to talk about next week's WIP Chat. That will be a new canvas because I plan on finishing this up today. At least that's the goal. But if you made it all the way to the end, leave me some dancing music, something kind of emoji, an instrument, a music note, a G clef, whatever it is. Leave me something along those lines to let me know you made it all the way to the end. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you did and you'd like to see more content like this or nothing like this at all, please make sure to give this video 2 thumbs up. One real life, one virtual. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Come join the Sparkle Squad. And while you're there, hit that notification bell.
Yay.
I do not operate on any sort of schedule. I operate on toddler standard time, and I record when my tiny human is sleeping or sleeping. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.